Well, good morning, Chicago. It is a balmy 70 degrees now with a high of 86. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a beautiful day on our hands. I don't know why I really wanted to do that, but I thought it would be funny, so might as well. Hello, it is a wonderful Saturday, Saturday the 10th, and this marks the end of my first week in Chicago. Flew by. My goodness, it flew right by. Can't even. Well, actually, at the same time, it feels like it's been longer than a week. That's for sure. There's both. It's like where it's oh man, it's only been a week, but then at the same time, I'm like, whoa, it's only been a week. The days just seem to blur all together, and it's like I can't even keep track of everything. Like, oh my goodness. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But, yeah, that's really cool. The end of the first week of my summer mission and 9 more weeks to go. So, starting to settle into a rhythm here, which is really cool. And so is everyone else. We're starting to get just a daily rhythm here. My roommates and I, waking up in the morning. Some of us go work out. I've been trying to run and go to the gym in the morning. We'll see how long I can keep that going. But yeah, it's been good. It's been good overall. Just kind of figuring out each of our schedules. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, the job hunt, which is what I've been mostly doing this week, has been pretty unfruitful. So that's a disappointment. Yeah. I've been applying to a lot of different places here in the downtown area, just ranging from restaurants to marketing firms and various marketing jobs. Yeah, just from like coffee shops to breakfast places to lunch, normal lunch places. And nothing's really panned out so far, which has been really unfortunate. But I'm still looking. I have a couple leads. There's a coffee shop down a couple blocks from here that they're hiring at the time, and they said they'd give me a call back. So hopefully, fingers crossed. And then also there's a possibility of getting in with a marketing job, kind of like a just cutting internship that with a Illinois farm company. We'll see if that happens. They're not dealing with farm, they're dealing with loans and various things. But we'll see if that happens. Yeah, I'm supposed to get a call back potentially on Monday about that. So we'll keep that in our prayers as I step into the next couple days trying to still find a job. What's unfortunate is I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I came up here not thinking that I was gonna have to look for a job. I work at Noodles and Company at school in Normal, Illinois, and before coming up here, I made sure to have my manager and myself call the various locations. There's 4 locations up here about my impending arrival, and they seemed pretty positive about it. And then when I get here, they all said no, that they were full or they had recently hired. Actually, one of the stores was making cuts. So none of that actually panned out, which was really unfortunate. So I was kind of unprepared because I thought that based on the conversation that I had with the various managers that it would be pretty likely that I could get a job at their location, and they seemed to assure me that way, but that didn't happen. So that's okay though. Still working on it, still reaching out. I sent some more applications out this morning. I've been making follow-back calls all week and going into different places to talk to the managers and say, hey, like I'm here, just let me know when we can do an interview. So that's been my daily struggle during the daytime. But yeah, so since I made my last update of what's going on here, 2 days have gone by, Thursday and Friday. Thursday, like I said in the morning, I did mostly did job hunting. I tried to follow up with as many people as I could, and really try and figure out when all the managers were going to be there. But in the evening, we had our first large group meeting. It's similar to the one we have on Monday, which I talked about a few videos ago. But this time it's meant for all the students, all the staff, and then anyone that we encounter or invite. So it's really encouraged that, especially the students that we might encounter on campus, like when I went sharing on Wednesday at University of Chicago, actually. It's really encouraged to try and connect with them and hopefully to invite them to Thursday night at the Harvest Bible Chapel to come with us. And it's a shorter kind of service. We sing a few worship songs. One of the staff leaders will give a talk, and then after that, it's over. It's only about an hour and a half at tops. We sing a few more songs at the end as well. And then, so it's really encouraged to invite people that we encounter in the city, whether that be people here in the apartment or on campus, or even people at our jobs. For those of us that have jobs. So that's the difference between those than the meeting that we have on Monday at Harvest Bible Chapel as well. That's what happened Thursday. And we were going through Colossians, like I said, about our action group. We're going through the book of Colossians, and so we're having a companion, I'm going to just call it like a sermon series that's going along with it on Thursdays. And so that's what we'll be doing for the next 5 weeks, going through the book of Colossians, which is pretty cool. And so just to give you a little taste of what we're talking about there is unlikely heroes and the knowledge of God, which I think is really cool. In the very beginning of Colossians 1 through 8, it mentions, Paul talks about who brought the church of Colossae the gospel, and that is Epaphras. And he's not really a known character. Obviously he's named, so we do know that. But other than that, he's not really one of the big names or the religious giants like Paul, Peter, the apostles that we hear about in the Bible, in the New Testament. But he's just kind of like one of those people that he followed, like, and Paul says directly, it's like, and Epaphras is the one that showed you the gospel, who was a faithful servant, and that's really all that's said about him. So it's obviously we can't allude too much because there isn't a lot of information on him, but at the same time, it's so nonchalant and so just like straightforward that this guy named Epaphras brought and started a church, while Paul, who is like the main guy, one of the main people, like pushing forward the gospel, he went somewhere. Epaphras went somewhere where he couldn't because at the time Paul was in prison or under house arrest in the Roman Empire, and so it's like this guy just like stepped forward in faith and started a church, and then that church grew, and next thing you know, Paul's writing them to encourage them in their faith and to encourage in what they're believing, which is really cool. It kind of equates to when they talk about the church in Antioch in Rome. No, Acts. I almost said Romans, so like that's the church in Rome. The church in Antioch, when Paul and Barnabas are going on one of their first journeys that the Lord is taking them on to spread the gospel in the Empire of Rome, they come to Antioch, and it just says, and some faithful men. And we don't know their names, we're not given any information, it's just some faithful men, or let's look at what the actual translation is. I have it. Yeah, actually it just says some men. Some men started the church in Antioch, and it became one of the like spiritual hubs of that area, which is awesome to think about. That like even though, like, yes, like, we need spiritual leaders, and spiritual giants such as Paul, Luke, John, Barnabas, and all these people that are very strong in their faith and very passionate about sharing the gospel. There's also just the average Joe, the you and me of the situation, the person that is just kind of doing what they normally do. Yet the difference is that person, throughout doing the normal grind or their normal life, is just stepping forward in faith, stepping forward into evangelism, of stepping forward in faith with the Spirit, and sharing their faith wherever they are, and leaving the results up to God. And this can grow so big, just like it did with Epaphras. And next thing you know, you have a whole church in your hands. Yeah, I just think it's really cool to see how God uses the marginalized. And Epaphras wasn't necessarily marginalized, but just he works. He works, and he can work through anyone in any situation. It doesn't matter what. We don't have to have everything all together to share our faith. We shouldn't have to feel like we have to have everything together to step forward in faith. If we only would share our faith, or live like with our faith at the forefront of our lives when everything else is in order in our lives, I don't think we'd ever really share our faith. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but a lot of times there's always something going on, and right as we seem to get it all together, something happens. But it's amidst the hardships, and amidst the daily struggle of our everyday lives, and our daily interactions with everyday people, whether that be just on our commute to work, like here in the city of Chicago, where you don't really have a car as much, but just on the commute, or if it's just in your job, your 9 to 5, or if you don't have a 9 to 5, in your job in general. Those are the opportunities that we're all presented with, and those are the opportunities that we get to share with people, and we get to come alongside them, and not just as a stranger, but as someone that we know, especially in our jobs. Someone that we have worked with, and we know what they think on a lot of things, and that's the perfect opportunity to step alongside them, to know where they're coming from, and be able to respond in faith, and step forward in faith with that. So I don't know, that's pretty cool. But yeah, so that's what we talked about on Thursday. Friday was it's the staff days off on Friday. And then they come back on Saturday and do various discipleships and various things. But on Friday, again, just was on the job search. Yeah, that's still the struggle. I'm doing the same thing today, like I said earlier. But yeah, that was most of my Friday. Yeah. In the evening, there was a group of us that decided that we wanted to go to Navy Pier. We were attempting to go see the sunset on the horizon, with all the buildings on the horizon, but unfortunately it took us a little bit longer to get out there than we had thought originally, so that didn't work out as well. But we still ended up going out there, and it was nice to see the lake, and to see slowly how the city would light up as the sun went down, which is actually pretty cool. So I don't know. I'm just gonna step in today, really, with prayers that I can get a job, and prayers for everyone else that is still looking for a job here, that we may find one, and that it may be where God wants us to be. But yeah, so that's really all I have for you guys today. I wish I could really have much more to share, but that's okay. It's a pretty chill weekend. So In the following days, I do hope to be compiling an interview with my roommates. I would like to give you all a chance to meet the guys that I'm living with and hear a little bit of their story. So probably tomorrow, hopefully, I plan to be posting up another video. But it'll just be one-on-one with each of them, just kind of giving them a chance to share your story and giving you all a chance as viewers to say hi and get to know them as well a little bit. So be looking for that tomorrow, and you all have a good rest of your Saturday, and yeah, and God's blessings. See ya.